Even at this stage of FM24's life cycle, you guys still send us plenty of recommendations about players to try in the game that we see and we've genuinely never heard of them. This time round, we're looking at 10 of your favourite picks, 10 of your most overpowered players, your best cheat beasts, your best hidden gems. I'm going to take them all, bring them into one video, check them out, not only to see if you guys have got good taste, but also hopefully find some great players you won't have heard of in-game. And the first suggestion from you guys in the comments was Gus Makuta, who's a 25-year-old Congolese international who is playing for Boa Vista in the Portuguese divisions. And this is exactly what we're after here, a player that we never would have came across normally, but when you look at him, you can see just how good this guy would be. Because yes, he's good technically, good mentally, really well-rounded, has a lot going for him in both the attacking and defensive elements of his game. Yes, he's also pretty versatile and has good traits, but physically, I mean, this guy is absolutely dominant, whether it's in the air, pace, strength, he has got it all. He is going to be a beast in the middle of your midfield, heading into the prime of his career, and you can pick him up for about 3 million. This is a really good suggestion from you guys, because I wouldn't have found him otherwise, but he is a top talent, and I think any team in, say, the Championship, high level, or lower level Premier League team would really benefit from him. Obviously, in FM this year, if you don't know, physical attributes tend to trump everything. If you've got someone that's tall, it will help a lot. If they're quick, it will help a lot. If they're strong, it's the same difference, but if you've got all three of those, you're going to have a blast with this player. So Makuta is the first pick, and we've got 10 in this video, so there's still another 9 to look at yet. But before we go into those, if you guys do enjoy this video, please go ahead and hit that like button for us, and comment down below your favourite player in FM that you think isn't talked about enough, and hopefully we can feature them in a future video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you for any interaction at this stage of Football Manager, because obviously there's less people watching, so the more interaction we can get, the better these videos will do on YouTube. So thank you to anyone who does that, but let's go check out player number 2. And by the way, I'm going to save my favourite till last. And this second player is actually a Wonderkid, an 18-year-old playing for AZ Alkmaar in the Eredivisie. This is Ruben Van Bommel, one of the most expensive players on this list, but you can see why. This man is elite quality for the top level size. If you can pick him up for 20 million, you're going to have a blast. The comment that suggested him said that they got loads of goals out of him, and you could see why that would be the case. Coming off that left-hand side onto his right foot, he's got great attributes mentally and physically, with a bit of pace going about him, but those technicals are brilliant for a player so young. Really well rounded, has everything he needs on that left hand side, and because he is only 18, he's only going to get better. By the time he's 20, 21, he'll look a completely different player, and he's already a regular starter for AZ Alkmaar, so he's going to get football, he will develop, and in most of your saves, this guy will be probably one of the best inside forwards in the world in that left channel within a few years. So check him out, and you would have an absolutely phenomenal player if you signed him. On the other end of the price scale though, for only $1 million or $2, you can pick up St. Pauli's Jackson Irvine. The Australian midfielder, being 30, is a bit older than what I'd normally recommend, but you guys suggested him, so I thought I'd take a look. And you know what? I was pretty blown away by how good he is, because mentally, he is insanely good. Flair is the only thing he lacks. Everything else is amazing. Technically, he's got a lot going for him too, and physically, it's all looking great. This guy is very good in the air. He's going to be a powerhouse of a midfielder. Have him as a box-to-box and he'll do wonders for you. He's versatile too, and he's been in the Bundesliga too for a few years now, so it's not exactly like he's going to cost you the world and he'll never want to leave. In the second tier of Germany, I think most teams in the top 5 European leagues, or just outside of that, he would be willing to join. If you're a Championship team pushing for promotion, if you're a lower level Premier League team trying to stave off relegation, I mean, Irvine could be a great pick here, and for anyone that signs him, you'll have a leader both on the pitch and off it. Let's get the most well-known lane player out of this list though. This is Francisco Trincao of Sporting Club de Portugal, formerly of course of Barcelona Wolves. This is a wonder kid that should have been one of the best wingers in the world but never quite made it. Now though, in Portugal, in FM, I still think he could be, because I have seen this guy quite a lot in my own saves, not just a recommendation from you guys. I've also experienced him myself, and he's always been really good for me. For 20 million, you're looking at a top 6 level right winger, like Manchester City level within a few years, because he does develop quite a lot still from what you're seeing here. He's great with a ball at his feet, whether it's dribbling past someone, scoring a goal, playing a cross, hitting a long shot, passing, vision, technique. He's got all the technical ability, some great physicals as well, hugging that right wing and then cutting in onto that left foot. As you can see, he's got the traits for it as well. Nice long shots, nice finishing. He is going to be a joy to watch in game, and only 23, the Portuguese international has got a few years yet before he's really getting into his prime. So hopefully you can develop him, get the best out of him, and I'm sure he will be a great pickup even at that 20 million fee. But if you want a winger on the cheaper side, then Roger Fernandez was suggested to us in the comments. Now this is the first one that I'll look at and say, I'm not super sure about him. I don't know if this is a great recommendation. I like the guy, I think he looks good at 17, playing for Braga, a Ghanaian national with good ability on either wing, can play both sides, and just has some decent attributes to start off with. but because he is 17, he's obviously got a lot of room to develop, and he definitely could become a top level player. The only issue is he's only a breakthrough prospect at Braga. I don't see them giving him a chance before his contract's up, so maybe if you signed him after that contract, you could get some good results out of him. I would never pay £10 million for this player that we're seeing here, but then again, if you loaned him in for your first season, by the time the first season's up, you might be able to pick him up on a free, and then get a pretty handy player for a lower division team. I don't think you want to sign him for, say, Man City in the Premier League, but if you're a team in, say, mid-championship level, trying to find a player that might develop and sell on for a huge fee in the future, maybe Roger Fernandez is the man, but scout him. He's been at the club for a few years, so it's not like you won't be able to sign him in the first window. Check him out. Hopefully, don't spend that kind of money on him, but if you do get him, maybe he could turn into something special, but that's a decent recommendation from you guys. Maybe just a little bit on the young side to know for sure. And there's still 5 players to go in this list. I am saving my best till last, but I thought I'd take this opportunity as we're halfway through just to let you know I do have my own channel linked in the description down below if anyone wants to support me over there. I really appreciate anyone that comes over and checks it out. We're getting close to 40k subscribers now, so any help towards that number would be amazing. But with that being said, let's check out the last 5 players, and the next one is a fullback. Good to see some defenders getting recognition on this list. It's always easy to point out the good attackers and the midfielders, but the defenders don't get enough love. This is Kevin Alvarez playing for America in Mexico, Club America this is. He moved over from Pachuca recently and he's now playing for one of the biggest sides in his continent, but for 50 million, this is an elite level right back, especially when you talk about going forward. With the technical ability he has, he could be a deep line playmaker. He's a great passer, he can tackle really well too, good positioning off the ball, the marking's there, dribbling, crossing, first touch. He's great with the ball at his feet, but does not shy away from a challenge or two. Physically and mentally as well, really nicely rounded, everything you could want from a modern day fullback. Hailing into his prime years, the Mexican international for 15 million could be a really good signing, and another fantastic suggestion. We said a 17-year-old Wonderkid was too young to know for sure if he was going to be good, but now we've got a 15-year-old Jon Ausus there, but this one I can say, this guy is elite. Now, there is a few issues with him, and I'll point them out, but I have used him myself. I've done a Wonderkid to Superstar on him before, a full episode where I simulated his career growth. He is the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic in FM, if you give him a chance. Now, when I did that, he was playing for AIK. He's since been picked up by Bayern Munich, so you'll have to give him some time. But when you're able, try and bring him into your side, whether it's on loan or permanently, because at Bayern, he's not going to get the chance to grow, but he is already such a physical specimen. It will dominate the game with just a little bit of growth, because he's 6'5", and he's got great physical attributes to go alongside it. Mentally and technically, he is fairly weak, there's no doubt about it, but being so good physically at this age means he's going to grow in these other areas pretty quickly, and you're going to see a top level striker. He's never going to be that technically gifted, but when you've got a guy this powerful, this strong, this quick, and you put him with some decent finishing, first touch, heading, technique as well, good with both feet, he will be an unbelievable forward, and one that you all need to check out if you haven't already. A great player to play with in game as well, just because of his height. He is fun to watch, so check him out if you haven't already. And that tops off a brilliant suggestion, but we've got another 2 strikers yet before we get on to my favourite player. Elijah Adebayo was a suggestion that actually came up a few times. It's Luton's forward. He spent most of his career playing in the lower levels of English football, but has now made his way to the Premier League for Luton. Of course, was relegated, but you're looking here at a man with 2 years left in his deal, £8 million valuation, 25, heading into his prime. You can also play left back and centre mid if you want him, but realistically, he will be your forward, and physically, he is a dominant beast. He can head the ball well, he's got great finishing too, really good work rate. If you want to use him as a target forward or deep line forward, he's got a trait to suit that and plays back to goal, or if you played him as an advanced forward, he has got knocks ball past opponent, which will benefit him with the pace he has. But he is a good dribbler, he's got everything he needs to be a really good striker. Is he ever going to play for Man City, Arsenal? Probably not, but if you're a team, say, in the high level Championship or low level Premier League, wanting the man to score goals, I think Adebayo would do a great job for you based on those attributes. I think that's another good suggestion of a player that you wouldn't normally go for. 2 to go now. We've got another forward that I can vouch for. We spoke about a young Swedish forward already, but there's another one here playing for Hammarby, one of the biggest sides in his nation. This is Yusuf Arabi, who has came through in the academy at Hammarby and is now one of their main players up top. An important player, and you can see why, because mentally he's strong. Technically, he's pretty good too, could do with some work, but he'll get there. He is only 20, but physically, this guy is a monster already. So well balanced, and that strength is insane for a player this young. Obviously, he's going to improve still. By the time he's 23, 24, you'll be looking at a completely different prospect, and for 2.5 2.5, 3 million maybe. Hammarby's forward is almost a must-buy for any team on the lookout for a young striker that could develop into a 50, 60, 70 million pound forward in only a few years. But finally, my favourite pick is this man, Leonardo Fernandez, a player playing for Penarol on loan from Toluca. The 24-year-old Uruguayan is someone that I've covered in a video previously, but once he was suggested in the comments, I thought, you know what, this is the perfect time to highlight him again for anyone that hasn't seen him, because it is like having Lionel Messi just chilling out in Uruguay, because, I mean, technically, look at those attributes: long shots, free kicks, crossing, corners, dribbling, finishing, first touch, long throws even, passing, penalties, techniques. I don't know what he's done, if he's this good in real life, and I don't know why he isn't playing for a massive team in, you know, the top 5 leagues of Europe, but maybe he's just like found the guy that gives the ratings for Sports Interactive and bribed him or something, because he is insanely good. Like, those technicals are world-class level. The mentals and physicals, not so much, but still pretty good and nothing you could really complain about. He's got great traits too. There's a number 10, left footer, hitting free kicks with 18, and shooting from distance on a regular basis because of those player traits. There aren't many players that would be more fun to watch in the in-game engine. Now, Penarol have an option to buy him of 2.4 million. Don't always take it up though, so scout him, and you might be able to get him on the cheap from Toluca, but either way, sign him whenever you can. This guy is insanely good and one of my favourite little gems that you can find in FM24. But there we go, there's some suggestions from you guys, 10 players that you should check out, all of which I think you'd have a great time with. It's always good to hear who you guys like to play with in game, so make sure you comment down below anyone that you think isn't given enough love in FM, and we'll hopefully check them out in a future video. Like the video if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.